here, Local 11 president and former OC chair. Boy, we had a real robust conversation. There we are. We're live on the camera now. See, there we are. All right, for those of y'all that are looking at us, we get to see us live. So that's up and running now. Thank you, Mark Westwood, for getting that taken care of. By the way, so it's one of the challenges of doing a live show is when you have something happening in the moment, you just have to deal with it. It's if your camera goes down or if something, a computer shuts down or you have to reboot, you just got to roll with it. Anyway, boy, what a robust conversation me and Nada had around things that can be done for labor, with labor, and working people, and making sure that our community is strong around the issues regarding working people. The energy that was shared out that she really loved the show. Actually, I think I'm going to be meeting with her again tomorrow afternoon, and it's just so you know, she's running for an assembly position, isn't that right? California Assembly. So she's going to be stepping away from her role as president and former OC Democratic chair there at local Unite here, Local 11, and kind of getting into the fray to help workers full time from a political standpoint. But anyway, we wish her all the luck in the world. I'll be talking to her tomorrow. We also had Gary Sukram on from PSD, who talked about a lot of the workplace issues that they're facing, as well as how much he loved his job. And, I knew that Gary had been in his job for more than 30 years as a preschool teacher. But to know it was 30, I think it was 34 years. And Gary, if you're listening in live, I really appreciate the work that you did. Did a great job on the show. And we obviously got a lot of comments from a lot of your coworkers listening in and, chiming in on the challenges in which you're facing in your current workspace. And some of the changes in which the San Bernardino County is looking to try to implement and how you guys are dealing with those potential changes. But Gary, it's always a pleasure to have you on. And Gary obviously does a great job on our NEO team and is always involved in the organization on many levels. And so don't forget to download the KCAA app in the Apple Store or Google Play Store if you want to hear our radio show. It's the easiest way to listen to the show. You actually just touch the app on your screen and you get the live feed immediately, and you get to hear it streaming versus if you're on 106.5 or you're on 1050 AM. Sometimes you get the in and out fade because you're actually listening to things over the radio, and it's, I love the fact that we got multiple platforms. I love that we got the radio, actually a radio AM and FM band, as well as we got a live stream in addition to we got a video stream. And so it really does a good job of capturing a lot of people. And the next part of the show is our live shout-outs. And the first live shout-out I want to give is I actually had somebody from Washington, D.C. text me just a bit ago, Emily Stewart from Strategic Organizing Center. She said, "Hey, Randy, it's Emily. Just wanted to know, we met a couple weeks ago, wondering what the topic for today's radio show is, and if we can get together here pretty soon." Anyway, I thought it was great, so I sent her the live link, and obviously we know we've got listeners all over the world, all over the country, and Emily gets my first live shout out. So she's listening in live from our great capital in Washington, D.C. Katie Provincio and David Mitchell from the Fontana Family Health are listening in live. Jeremy Lopez and Justin Carrasco are at ARMC Security. Olivia Gabaro from ARMC. Krista Kunter from ARMC. Upland Housing Authority. Liliana Aguilar at ARMC. I think your mic is on, Mark, just so you know. Mark, your mic is on. Yep, we're hearing you We're hearing you fumble around over there right now. You got anything to say for yourself?
I just unplugged my headphones.
So then you couldn't even hear me saying, "Hey, you're." Yeah.
That why I was getting that look through the glass.
Right.
Oh,
are you good now? We
no,
got you.
A little warm and sweaty, but I'm good now.
All right. Liliana Aguilar, ARMC. Patty Murrain, Georgina Martinez, Kazi Bishop from Redlands TAD, Lisa Vasquez from ARMC, Ben Wurtzel, and Gloria Posada from San Bernardino Fire. And we have, I can't read that. We have also Emily Swallow, Dan Schurer, and Linda and Bill Wassam from Jen's family in Highland. Wick staff from Barstow, all the way in Barstow listening live. Yucaipa Sheriff Station listening live. And we also have a Shortcut Oh, the shortcut, our shout out to the certified office class at the Teamsters Local 1932 Training Center that's actually in the building right now on the other side. Sorry, I'm not reading things all that great this morning or this afternoon. I guess I'm a little bumpy along the way. And so the next part of our show is about it's about labor heroes and labor events. I'm going to break this up a little bit. I'll just do one of them now, and I'm going to do the rest of them at the other side of the break, the main break on the back side of the show, which is the second hour. It's Women's History Month, so Robert, make sure I don't forget to come back to this, please. Can you hit me? He's right over here. Can you hit me in the side of the head if I miss it? The first shout out we want to do, the first person we want to recognize as labor's heroes and labor events is Helen F. Chavez, the wife of Cesar Chavez. She was born Helen Fabella in 1928 in California's Imperial Valley, which Local 1932 currently is organizing. We're organizing a lot of new members, almost 1,000 new members in the last year in that region currently right now. Helen didn't speak in public, but held deep convictions. And in 1965, Caesar's Latino Union debated whether to join the grape strike that was begun by Filipino workers. And Helen settled the debate in her quiet, no nonsense way of asking, are we union or not? And obviously that settled the debate in that home. Helen's schedule was punishing, rising early to make breakfast and school lunches, and then joining vineyard picket lines before dawn while caring for her family daily. She managed the Farm Workers Credit Union for over 25 years, loaning more than $20 million to workers in that space. And so shout out to you, Helen, and for all that you did in the labor movement. We really appreciate that. I am going to touch on the other two issues in a bit, but I want to actually jump quickly into our Teamster Advantage partner. So I'm shuffling things around. I'm going to come back to the news and stuff in a minute in between our Teamster Advantage partner and our guest that's going to be coming in. We have the mayor from Needles coming in. Hopefully she's listening in live in the green room right now. And so I have George with me, who is a new partner from Donut Town in Highland, a new Teamster Advantage partner. And I just want you to know, George, before you introduce yourself, I am a critic on donuts, and I'm going to tell you my story why. I know many listeners have heard me tell this story, but I'm going to tell it again. Our Teamster Advantage program is a program, for those of you that don't know, is a program of more than 1,000 small businesses that we've connected to in the Inland Empire, and we obviously encourage our communities, encourage our members to shop local. It's very important. It's more important for you to go to Donut Town than it is to go to Krispy Kreme because, quite frankly, the money stays locally. It stays with the small business owner, and it is very hard for these small business owners to be able to compete and stay up to speed with these corporate giants and the super wealthy that are buying up the entire world. And we really want to encourage our local community to make sure that they buy local, stay local, and recirculate that money through our local economy. And the way we do that and the sacrifice that our members give is by spending the time and energy and money on our program, which obviously manages having all these businesses together and advertising for them and encouraging them to participate and having them on our app. Obviously, thousands of our members are participating, and I see somebody eating one of your donuts over there right now. And by the way, you can't listen to him whether or not he likes this donut or not because he loves every donut. So Ralph, that you see through the screen right now, I know. I'm going to get to it in a minute. I'm going to get to it. Thanks, Ralph, for absolutely bringing in a donut as he's chewing on it and making us jealous. Anyway.
Would you like to come over here and chew on the mic?
Yes, so everybody can hear you. We're going to be doing that in a few minutes. That's what this box is for in front of us. But the point is on the Teamster Advantage program is we're really proud of this program because we really think it's a great grassroots way to connect the community in a bunch of different ways. And obviously union members make typically more money than everybody else, and their awareness of their surroundings and how important their community is very important to them and the organization. And that's why we do this. So I've got George from Donut Town, and my story on donuts is this. It's hard to get me to like a donut because as a kid, I had to throw the Sun Telegram paper in the morning from when I was 11 years old until I was later into my teens. And every single morning that's a 365 day a year paper. And I'd get up at 3:30 and the papers would hit the door at like 3:15, 3:20, 3:30. We'd fold the papers and get en route, get out and deliver them. But at the end of my route, I had a donut shop. And I always exchanged a paper with the guy that ran the donut shop either just before he opened or just after he opened, depending on how, for me, if it was a Sunday, obviously it's a bigger, heavier paper and it took me a lot longer to deliver. Thursdays and Sundays were tough because they were ad days. But I always exchanged, and I typically exchanged a bear claw or an apple fritter. And all I got to say is, so this is like 82, 83. A lot of the things that you cooked with back then are obviously much more natural than they are today. And so I can't get out of, and I'm not a picky eater, as you could tell by seeing me. Like I do not discriminate when it comes to food. But I'm not impressed by Krispy Kreme. There's a lot of like sweets and donuts I'm not impressed by. But and when it comes to donuts, boy, was I spoiled. I can't tell you what it tastes like to grab a donut literally out of the oven or wherever it comes out of the fryer, depending on how it's being cooked, coming off the bakery shelf literally just after it was cooked at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning. And what an amazing taste. So that's my story on donuts. What's yours, George?
Well, that was a great story. Thank you for sharing that. Have to tell you that I cannot agree more that there's nothing better than a fresh hot donut in the morning. Those donut holes that are just been glazed, or that fresh fritter, it's the best. So you had quite the donut introduction.
Totally spoiled.
Yeah, people would die to come have our donuts. What you have that fresh in the morning. So
every morning I got that. It was, maybe I wasn't supposed to exchange the paper, but I didn't care. I was willing to risk my job for that donut every morning.
That's amazing. Our story is with donuts is a really unique one. My family and I we grew up in the East Highlands Ranch area, not too far from here. I'm the oldest of 5 siblings, and we're full Greek. My last name is Anagnostopoulos, so
I'm glad you didn't ask me to try to pronounce that.
no.
Can you spell that?
Of course you can. I
Just
can't.
kidding.
It's basically the alphabet. That's how I learned my last name growing up. But my grandparents both immigrated here from Greece, and like many other Greek immigrants, they became very involved in the restaurant business. And so both of my grandparents and my parents, for my whole young adult life, grew up running restaurants. And my grandparents actually owned the Bluffs restaurant here in Colton.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Oh, man, that was a mainstay for us for years.
Yes, sir.
Holy smokes, the
Yeah.
Bluffs.
The Bluffs.
Right there off the freeway, right by Fiesta Village.
Yes, sir.
Oh, the little, not the big room off to the side. Boy, did we have a lot of functions in there over the years.
I'm sure you
and
did.
some melees.
Yes. It was amazing part of the community for many years, and
Anybody who grew up in this area knew the Bluffs. Absolutely.
for sure. And so my grandfather George, who I'm named after, founded the business in the 40s and 50s, and that's how I grew up, was working in the restaurants with my parents and helping bus tables, and we've always been in the restaurant business, and so we live in East Highland, and we've always frequented this local donut shop that was about 2 blocks from our home. And the owner of the donut shop was actually our neighbor. And we were very good friends with her. And over the years, that's where we would go to get our donuts and go get our coffee drinks. And my dad would bring donuts to my class every Monday. And so growing up, all the
A
kids...
spoiled class now.
We were very spoiled.
Right.
But it was we were excited for school and excited for Mondays because my dad brought donuts.
What a smart way to get the kids excited for school Monday morning.
Right. And anyways, my classmates all called him the Donut Man.
Mm-hmm.
Like that just became his name, and it's sort of fortuitous because now we own a donut shop, and my dad is the Donut Man for real
In Highland, yeah.
in Highland. And so fast forward to about to 2019, the owner of the donut shop, our neighbor, approached us and said, "Hey, I've owned the donut shop for 20 years. I'm tired and looking to, either sell the business, which is ideally, but if not, I'm just going to close the door." And at the time, my mom had been a stay-at-home mom with all of us, raising us 5 kids. And so she said, "Oh, Angela, I think this would be a great little side business for you. Like, you're a great cook and you're a great baker, and your family's been in the restaurant business, and would it be something that you would maybe consider?" And so at the time, it was a hard no. We were, all busy with different jobs and school, and our lives are pretty crazy with a big family, and we just said, respectfully, no, thank you. And then fast forward to 2020, the pandemic happened. We all were in lockdown, and we all moved back home during that time, and either doing school remotely or work remotely, and so we were all just back home together, kind of like the good old days, right? And the
Just all a little more grown up.
just a little more grown up. Just everyone needs a little bit more space.
Right.
And the donut shop lady reapproached us and said, basically, I think you should really consider this again. And she basically gave us too good of a deal that we couldn't pass it up. So we went full head first, and we purchased a donut shop in July of 2020. So our 5-year anniversary is coming up.
Oh boy.
And so, yeah, Donut Town Highland was created from that point. And she was willing to train us how to make donuts, which was huge because we didn't know anything about it. And so we started off with my brother and my mom and I sort of, watching her every day and seeing how she made the donuts. And initially we learned her methods, right?
Yeah.
Which, when you've been doing something for
Right.
so
the
long.
Tried and true, right?
It's tried and true, right? And well, one of the things that we sort of had a little bottleneck with was because she'd been doing it for so long, it was kind of second nature to her, right?
She didn't measure anything.
Nothing was measured.
She knew exactly how many grains of sugar had poured out and went, "Oh, that's enough right there."
Exactly. Did not own a measuring cup, did not own a scale.
That is great. That's insane. I love it.
It was insane. And so, in the first couple months, that was fine. We were getting by and we learned. And then, but we were getting busier. People found out that it was a new business, it was a new ownership. We came up with, we renovated the store, and we were just getting busier. And so we needed to scale the batch of donuts we were making. My Friday,
You need to make more.
we needed to make more.
Right.
Our Friday donut, traffic was much higher than our Monday traffic. And so we were trying to scale the batch, and we weren't getting good results. Like we were increasing the flour, but because it wasn't measurable, we were getting the donuts weren't turning out like they should. And so the baking company that provides like all the flour and the sugar found out we were new owners actually, and they wanted to keep us on, as customers. And so they said, hey, what if we brought these donut culinary chefs to come and teach you
Oh, there you go.
how to make donuts legit? And, it will be for free. And you know what? Like, we really want to teach you the art of making a donut. And so we immediately raised our hand. We're like, okay, how soon can you come out here? And they did. And we spent, a week with them, going through the whole process and measuring flour. And donuts are it's part art, part science, but it's multi-step, right? You're having to
Yeah, you got to do this step correctly. If you don't do this step correctly and you take the next step, you're going to ruin the whole thing.
the whole thing is bad.
right. It's
You're
bad.
eating a flat donut that doesn't taste right. And so that
Sounds like Krispy Kreme.
exactly, literally.
Sorry if you're Krispy Kreme fans. I just can't get into it. It tastes like a ball of sugar to me. Anyway.
For sure. And so, yeah, from that point on, we really mastered the art of the donut. So at Donut Town Highland, we pride ourselves. We don't cut any corners in the donut making process. It's about 6 to 8 hours every night into the morning. And we use the highest quality ingredients. We use quality oil, which you can appreciate. You know, we use palm shortening.
It's better for someone's body too.
Oh, for sure. I mean, you can eat a donut, right? And if it's not quality oil and
You can
quality
tell the
ingredients,
difference by the time you're done eating it.
for sure.
Absolutely.
Like, your stomach will hurt, right? And so that's the biggest thing, because you know.
I just thought that was from excess eating.
Maybe, but
Only in your case, Randy.
but we've really take a lot of pride in ourselves and making a true classic donut that tastes good, that makes people feel good. And we also have expanded our offerings. We have vegan donuts, and we're also trying to roll out gluten-friendly donuts now. So everybody who has any type of eating limitation can still have a really great Donut Town Highland donut. So we also, of course, we have the classic maple bars, the fritters, the bear claw, but we also do really awesome specialty donuts.
So while you're talking, I'm gonna jump in and take a bite of this. Keep on.
Oh,
keep on
please
going,
do,
George. You're doing
please
a great
do.
job.
So I brought you a selection of our specialty donuts. So this one is a mocha Bavarian cream filled donut. So it's a mocha Bavarian filling topped with chocolate. That's our new flavor for March. And
I like March.
March is good. We also have a Biscoff cookie butter donut. So that's a raised donut with white frosting, topped with a cookie butter drizzle and a Biscoff cookie, which many of you have tried on those American Airlines flights. Those are delicious. We also have an Oreo cookies and cream donut, which is a raised donut topped with white frosting, a homemade Oreo
Holy
chantilly
smokes.
cream whip.
Oh, what's this thing again?
That's the mocha Bavarian donut.
You better go in and order this mocha Bavarian donut. Holy smokes, that is amazing. Like, so I thought it was like a custard filled at first. You know,
Yeah.
your typical chocolate, chocolate top, and the white custard, whatever flavor that is.
Mm-hmm.
I love those. Those are pretty good. But this mocha flavor just jumps out at you. Like,
Yes.
oh my. And you know, it doesn't feel, and I'm assuming these aren't like didn't just come out of the oven, so they've been sitting for a bit, and they taste amazing. Okay, I'm sold on this donut.
That's awesome. That's my favorite of the month. So I'm glad you feel the same. And then we got the Oreo.
Feel free
cookies
to
and cream.
share.
No, no one can have any.
I'm locked in a booth. I can't get any. I just see them over there.
I know. We'll just show you.
Oh, they look delicious.
Here, take this other one, half of it to Mark. Let him try this.
Go ahead and take a bite, Robert, and give it to Mark. Oh my! So what are these other ones?
So this one is our strawberry donut. This is a raised donut, which has a homemade strawberry frosting, topped with our crumb topping. And crumb is basically when you take cake donuts, you grind them up, you put it with cinnamon sugar, and you mix it all together, and you put crumb on a donut. That's what that topping is. And this has a homemade strawberry whip with fresh strawberry in the middle.
Okay, so I knew the donut was going to be good because apparently there were some donuts in the kitchen, and you had a crumb one of these like on a glaze thing, right?
Yes.
So I spotted that
Okay.
and cut that and took a piece of it
Yeah.
a few hours ago and was like, oh, we're good. No, we're good. And I think everybody knows here I'm not a big donut person. Matter of fact, I pass them most of the time. So when I heard you were coming in, I just like, I gotta try them out. I gotta try this. So that's very, very good.
Awesome.
We're going way over our time because you're doing such a great job of explaining. That's okay. You're doing such a good job of explaining the history of your shop, explaining the work that you do. And what I've also found is that the listeners, for some reason, love for us to describe the food. I'll have a show and I'll have this really important topic, and then I'll have like barbecue on or donuts, and oh man, people go, oh man, did you hear the way they're describing the food or the barbecue or the this or that? And I'm thinking, oh wait a minute, did you hear about that important stuff at the other part? How about the news? No, I want to hear about the donuts. So anyway, I'm letting it fly here because apparently our listeners love to hear the describe. How's the donut, Mark?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely
This is-
amazing.
All right, so this is Donut Town in Highland. You guys are crazy if you don't go. And what's the discount for Teamster Advantage partners?
So we just joined the Teamsters Advantage program. We're so happy to be a part of this partnership with you all and really believe in the mission of Teamsters. So 15% off for all
What?
Teamsters members.
Oh, we're going to have to buy donuts for the whole meeting.
Yeah, so we're at 7223 Church Street, East Highland. We're open Monday to Saturday, 6 a.m. to 4 p.m.
That's off of Highland and Baseline, right?
off of Highland and Baseline. We're closed Sundays, and 15% off for in-store purchases for all your members. So we're really excited about this, and thank you for letting us be a part of it.
You heard it here. 15% off this donut shop. If you're gonna do something big and you need a couple dozen donuts, go in there and get 15% off. It's a pretty good savings for being a Teamster. Really appreciate what you do as a small business owner in the area. Being a small business owner is difficult and tough. It's hard to compete, especially with these huge corporations dominating the space as much as they do. And our thanks to that is to try to get you on the show and have you talk about it and connect. And we really, really appreciate you giving our members a discount as an encouragement for people to connect to your small business. Anything you want to close on before we go to a quick commercial?
Oh, I just want to say that we're a true family business through and through. We've grown up in this community. We love giving back to the community. One of the great things about being
The Bluffs. I am. If you go back into a bunch of my receipts, probably from the '90s, I'm telling you, at least once a week we ate at the Bluffs. And people from my office, Local 63 in Rialto, I would tell you we were at the Bluffs at least 4 or 5 times a week. It was one of our favorite places to go. And I guarantee you, Mom, Judy, knows your grandfather, George. I guarantee it. That's how often everybody went to the Bluffs.
So I texted her, and she says, that must be Tommy's son.
Yes,
That's exactly what she said.
Tom,
Oh,
Tom
see?
is my dad. Yes.
Yep.
So if you come to the donut shop, Tom is there every
See
day.
what a small world this is? This is what I
Yeah.
love about this. Like here you are, you come on here for this, talk about everybody, of course, flares up over the Bluffs, right, because of the history there. And then all of a sudden, we got Mom on the phone. Mom's texting, oh, yeah, it must be Tom's son, right? So see, we weren't BSing you.
No, we're not BSing it. So, we've been in this community for many, many years. And so I hope everybody can come and try these delicious donuts. They're made with a lot of love. And we've definitely, done our homework to make the best donuts out there. And we're proud of our product. And, we stand by everything. We also do a lot of other things in donuts. We do smoothies, coffee drinks, ham and cheese croissants, bagels.
I love ham and cheese croissant.
We still got Thrifty
it.
ice cream. The croissants
What?
are the best. Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Uh-oh. It's over.
So Donut Town is, go big or go home.
You better watch it. You're going to have a mob attacking your building here in the next few hours.
He's going to have a rush.
You're going to have a big rush.
Okay. I'll text Dad.
Yeah. Well, George, really appreciate you coming on, and obviously appreciate everything your family's done over a long period of time, making sure that being a small business owner and owning a restaurant and all those things, you're so super connected to the community in a way like you hear right now. So it's like you're part of the family immediately as soon as somebody connects to your grandfather, right?
Yeah.
So I won't tell you Mom's age, but anyway, she'll be happy to hear that we're not going to tell her age on the radio. Again, really appreciate what you do in the small business community. We're proud of the Teamster Advantage program that we got. 15% discount if you go to Donut Town in Highland. You heard the address here. It's close to Church and Baseline if you need to go there. And I want you all to make sure you stay tuned. I got a lot of news I got to cover, but what we're going to do is as soon as we do this break, and we got news at the break now instead of music, right?
You want the news next?
Yeah, I want the news. We'll do that local news. We got a new local news clip that we're sliding in. Anyway, we'll do that at the break, and then I'm going to have the mayor for Needles on after this little short break here. And as soon as we're done, I'm going to roll into some pretty important news that's going on. It's really some positive stuff, and then there's something pretty significant. It's happened a couple days. In the last couple of days, I need to point out to all of our listeners. Thanks again, George, for coming on. This is Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, KCAA, 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, live from San Bernardino. Also streaming, not just on the audio, but the video. Mark, take it away to the break.
For KCAA 1050 AM NBC News Radio and Express 106.5 FM, Yucaipa City Council held a special meeting with one item on the agenda, the contract for Chris Mann, city manager. Public comments were taken, but with a 4-to-1 vote, he was put on administrative leave pending investigation. The Del Rosa Post Office was officially renamed the Dr. Margaret B. Hill Post Office Building during a recent ceremony. Hill was a longtime educator and community leader in San Bernardino. She passed away in 2021 at the age of 81. The bill to honor Hill was signed into law by former President Joe Biden in November. NFL Hall of Fame coach Jimmy Johnson is retiring from his sports analyst position. Johnson announced his retirement from his position with Fox Sports on Monday. The former Super Bowl champion head coach spent over 30 years with the network. The American Entertainment Hall of Fame, SPC, has set its 2025 induction ceremony for April 13th in Temecula. The ceremony will feature a special tribute to Martha Reeves, celebrating her legacy and contributions to the music industry. As the lead singer of Martha and the Vandellas, Reeves helped to define the Motown sound with iconic hits like Dancing in the Street and Jimmy Mack. She helped to shape the culture landscape of the 1960s. The induction ceremony will be held at Golden Bears Theater in Temecula. Weather in the Inland Empire, mostly sunny with partial clouds, highs in the high 50s and lows in the high 40s, looking a bit warmer on Friday. For NBC News Radio, KCAA 1050 AM and Express 106.5 FM, I'm Lillian Vasquez, and you're up to date. KCAA, keeping California alert and aware.
Everybody to the Wild Wild West, a state that's untouchable like Elliot Ness. The track hits your eardrum like a to your chest, like a vest for your in the city of. We in that sunshine state where the bomb be, the state where you never find a dance floor empty and be on a mission for them. Lean, mean, money making machines, serving fiends. I've been in the game for 10 years making rap tunes. Ever since Honeys was wearing Sassoon, now it's 95 and they clock me and watch me diamond shining, looking like a Rob Liberace. It's all good from Diego to the Bay. Your city is the bomb if your city making pain. Throw up a finger if you feel the same way. Straight putting it down for California, yeah.
Randy Corgan here, back on the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network. I love that music, Mark. Love that. Live from San Bernardino. We were airing live from San Bernardino. What a small world on George there in the donut shop, and being connected to the Bluffs. And I've lots of great memories and some pretty crazy memories too of dinner at the Bluffs, or it was they stayed open late, so sometimes the bar was open a little too late for some people.
Stater Brothers flashback.
Absolutely. Big place for people from the big distribution center that was right down the street would go to dinner there or lunch. They had a lot of good lunch specials there. That's usually where I ended up. Was they always had really good lunch specials. Food was fresh. It's great. It was awesome to see how that reconnected with Donut Town.
He said George, and I was like,
Yep.
mom knew George like the back of her hand.
Right,
Like,
they knew each other.
Oh,
Pretty
yeah.
well. Yeah, pretty incredible. And so now I'm joined with the mayor of the city of Needles, a great city of Needles, out in the middle of the desert. Everybody has a tendency to try to
Yes.
forget about. I know I don't. I love it out in the middle of the desert. And matter of fact, I just saw you here not recently out there. We did a barbecue out there, and so we have Jan with us, Miss Mayor. Thank you for coming on the show.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm glad to be here.
So, how long have you lived in Needles? Let me get you turned a little.
Okay. I was raised out there in Needles, so I'm pretty much been a lifer out there.
So, and you've been mayor for what, a couple years now, right?
I'm going on my third year.
Third year.
Yes.
What made you run for mayor?
A citizen came into my office and was complaining about stuff, and I told him to go one block over to the city hall and complain to the management staff there. And he said, no, because I know you'll take care of it. So then I said, no. So then he left, and my husband said, you should just run for mayor. I don't know why you don't. I said, okay, you know what? I will.
And then you ran.
I ran.
And then you won. Right. And here we are 3 years later. So, Needles has got all kinds of interesting history.
We do.
That a lot of people don't pay attention to when they're blowing by it on the 40.
Right.
So clearly it was there obviously well before the 40.
Well, and we're the oldest city out in the tri-state area, with so we're an old established railroad town. We still are. We love the railroad, and then just we want to make Needles your desert destination. We've got the river. We're like Texas. We have it all. We have the river. We have the desert. We have a great small community life, a great school system. Our high school sports teams have won 40 state championships through the last few years. The state of Nevada, we don't play California, we play small
'cause you're
schools
closer,
in Nevada,
yeah.
right. And the girls, in fact, just won the 2A Nevada State League basketball championship. And the boys took runner-up.
I learned something new today for the first time about Needles. I thought I'd known a fair amount, but Charles Schultz
Yes.
lived in Needles as a kid, right?
He did. He went to school there through the third grade. And
For
his
those
house,
who don't know who that is,
it's Peanuts,
yeah,
the curator, yes.
Yeah, the Peanuts curator.
Yeah. So, and then Spike is in our museum there, courtesy of Joe Jones. He is a business owner in Needles. He went to the Schultz family in Santa Barbara and asked if we could have Spike, because when he was doing Spike, he put Spike out in the desert and stuff. And so we have his original comics from the 70s, and we have a Spike there. So, and he is a great attraction in our museum. You'd be surprised. And every August 13th is his birthday. We have a birthday celebration, and that's well attended to. So, yeah.
So a lot of fun things happen in Needles or in the desert area. I like to call it the river community out
Yes.
there. There is a lot of activities, a lot of recreation, whether it's on the water or in the dirt.
Right.
And it obviously attracts a lot of
It
people.
does. And Needles, in fact, we just spent the last year $8.4 million redoing our parks.
And didn't you
updating
just
them,
win
and-
an award on
And
one
we
of the parks?
did. We won a state award from the Public Works Association for the best project of the year with cities under 50,000. We competed against 97 entries.
Including Beverly Hills.
Yes, from 53 agencies, and we won first place, best park.
I love the fact that Needles got the award for best park over Beverly
Yes,
Hills.
I know, isn't that?
Yeah, what happens is people, they have a tendency to overlook these gems. You know what I mean? They
Yes.
have a tendency, especially in the desert, for those of us that really like the desert.
Well, and one good thing about the our Bob Belt Beach Park, it's right behind our golf course, and then the 19th hole restaurant. So it's just it's a beautiful venue there on the river, and we invite people to drive their boat up and visit us.
Yeah, I'm sure you've noticed, Jan, in the last few years, we've spent a lot of time in Needles.
Yes.
And we've spent a lot of
We
energy.
appreciate that.
We spent a lot of resources really doing the best we can at trying to help bring the community together
Right.
in a positive way. We obviously know that the railroad and a lot of union industries
Yes.
built the town.
Oh, yes.
And for me, you probably saw in your tour of the building, we pay a lot of respect to
Yes.
history, because if we don't understand our history right,
Well, that's what I told Mark. I said, oh, there's Hoffa.
it's right.
And my dad was the union griever out there for the Santa Fe BNSF for 40 years.
And I'm assuming he retired on a good union pension.
Yes.
And there's actually a lot. When we did the canvassing out there, we knocked on doors.
Yes.
Man, we knocked on a ton of retirees,
Right.
union retiree
Yes.
doors. I mean, a lot of them. I would
Yes.
say,
Yeah, Needles is for a small town is a union town.
yeah. And you know, everybody knows everybody in this town
do.
too, by the way. Like there's nothing gets by.
No,
You can't
no. When my husband first moved there, because his dad was in the Air Force, and he was a staff sergeant, so they moved every 2 years. He lived all around the world. When he first moved to Needles, Lee Perry, that was the owner of the Desert Star, told him, "Be careful who you talk to, because in Needles, everybody is related to everybody." And he never forgot that.
Very true. And if they're not related,
They know somebody.
They know somebody who is related, and they can get the skinny on whatever the situation is. But you know, we really hope that we've brought a positive energy
But you
to
did,
the situation.
and Natalie and I were just talking, and I want to give a shout out to Elisa Hernandez, your office manager out there. What a great job she does with public relations, and she's also a member of our military moms. And we've got the Run for the Wall. It's actually the 50th anniversary of the Vietnam War, 35th run for the Run for the Wall, and the military moms are a great asset and a sponsor of our Run for the Wall, just as the Union 1932 is too. So a shout out. And in fact, Elisa, her husband Al, his grandfather is our oldest living veteran in Needles. So yeah, the veterans are a very important part of Needles.
Thank you, Mark. I was wondering when that was coming in.
I didn't want to interrupt Jan. I wanted to let her
that's
get
okay.
everybody in there.
Yeah. Any other fun facts on Needles you want to lay out?
Well, we have our El Garces, which is the largest of the Fred Harvey houses, and it's the biggest one, and it was built in 1903. And Needles was established in 1883, so that building, it is a true treasure, and we've got the Santa Fe Park, you know, in front of it, and we just invite everybody to our downtown. We're getting ready. We're a part of the Inland Empire Tourism Board, so we're planning to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Route 66 in 2026. So we have plans we're making for that. So we're just inviting, you know, the travelers. We're expecting, you know, more travelers and stuff to come through. Because of that, it's also the 250th birthday United States. It's going to be the World Cup in LA. 2028 is the Olympics. So you can see in California, we've got the next few years.
What we're going to
a
have
lot
to
coming
do
up.
is we're going to have to create a disturbance on the freeway that pushes everybody off at
Yes.
Broadway and makes them go through town, so they have to
Yes.
stop and eat.
Well,
right?
and then we're really grateful to Caltrans. They just spent a little over $3 million redoing our exits, and we've got an 8-foot, the California brown bear welcoming you to
Yes.
Needles. We are the gateway to California, and yeah, and our exits look good.
They turned that bear in a couple different spots. I've seen it. It's also on the 62 coming in through Parker, and it's
Yeah.
up there at obviously in Needles. That's pretty cool. They did
It
a
is.
really, really, really
It
cool
is.
job with that.
And the district manager of Caltrans was out a few weeks ago, and I was at a meeting, and I said, "Oh, what city are you from?" And he goes, "Oh, I'm the district Caltrans manager." I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" So I talked with him for an hour, and he came out and went through all of Needles and stuff, and he was really impressed with
So I
it.
want to remind all of you that drive in that area, when you go to Laughlin, don't just get off on
No.
River Road Cutoff and
Yeah.
miss Needles. Drop down in, grab a
It
piece of
is.
pizza.
Well, and Needles, we're excited to be, because you can come into Needles, tour our town. You can travel out to Goff's Schoolhouse, which is also Route 66, and they're 30 minutes back west of us. And then you can go to Oatman. They're 30 minutes from Needles. So in a matter of a day, you can just see, you know, a lot of history out there.
And in the winter, I know some people think, oh, in the summer it's so hot. It is. It's hot.
Uh-huh.
It's sometimes unbearable. But quite frankly, 9 of the months out there
Are
are
beautiful.
amazingly beautiful.
Well, and then we have BLM. We have, a lot of off-road desert trails out there that you can go
A
to.
ton of them.
Yes, and we have the East Mojave Desert. You can go out to Hole in the Wall. We're an hour away from Kingman. You can, travel up there, the Wallapai Mountains. So, I mean, as far as activities, Needles is really the place to come to. We offer it all.
Yeah, and on the riverside, on the river part of it, you've got Park Mowabi there, which
Yes.
is a popular destination for
Pirates Cove.
boaters. Pirates Cove. That's actually
And they've done a tremendous job. They, took that park over from San Bernardino County, and they've just done a tremendous marketing job, for the Pirates Cove.
yeah,
to
it
get-
attracts a lot of boaters
does.
come up and hang out there in the channel.
And in fact,
gets a
all-
little unruly from time
it
to time,
does,
but
it
hey, that's
does.
all right. It's good.
And
Nothing
in
wrong with that.
fact, all of our resorts, we've got Finders Resort, we've got the Rainbow Beach, we've got, so all of them are up to date. They're just very welcoming on the river. And in fact, Finders Resort is the only small motel on the Colorado River for Route 66. That's their history.
That's awesome. Anything else before we get about ready to wrap this up? Really appreciate you dropping
thank
in
you.
here. I know you had a meeting down here, which made it
Yes.
nice and convenient. But we actually have a lot of listeners from Needles
good.
that listen in. I'm assuming they're streaming because I don't think
Yes.
the
I
FN
just
band
want to
reaches.
talk real quick.
Oh,
We've
yeah.
got our resource fair. All the San Bernardino County agencies are coming out to Needles March 18th, Wednesday. We've got Assemblyman Jeff Gonzalez, newly elected. He's going to be spending the day in Needles. So we welcome the citizens to come out and express their concerns. And our big thing is April 4th and 5th is the 47th annual of the Colorado River Rodeo Roundup in Needles. 2 days of exciting. It's a sanctioned JPA rodeo. We've got $4 beers. You can come to the rodeo store.
Sold.
I know. And for 2 nights, for $15, you can buy your tickets. And after that, you've got a free dance. So it's a great night. We've got barbecue. It's just a great event. And then we've got, following that, we have our Art in the Park Craft Festival. It's a juried art show. April 19th is a chili cook-off, and also we have our Easter egg hunt furnished by Tri-State Community, and they're not real eggs, they're only plastic, so I don't want people to be alarmed. We're spending thousands of dollars, so. And May 14th, again, is we invite our veterans out, especially the Vietnam veterans, to run for the wall, downtown Needles.
And that's an amazing event.
It
It is.
is.
It's
How the
pretty
community can
incredible
come
to see
together
that.
and
Yep.
and feed 300 people in less than an hour is amazing.
Right. It's and
And then just to
incredible
see the bikes
Yeah.
come in, down the Broadway, it is truly, it's
And
it's
the wall
gratifying.
itself is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
And then they actually, the school participates. They send pictures, and they've actually taken them back there and put on the wall and stuff. So it has become a community event, and we appreciate all the help that 1932 does too.
Yeah, well, we're always going to be there. Our members that work at the city of Needles and our
They're
members for
very
the county,
great in helping to set up.
that they're phenomenal. They
Yes.
do a great job in clearly a very
Yes.
remote part of the United States.
It
It's
is.
not just a
It
remote
is.
part
well,
of
and then we have the
California.
Central Division. They start Rancho Cucamonga, and then we're the first stop.
Explain that.
Well, the Central Division, there's different divisions that go to the Run for the Wall, and we get the Central. And then they start in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They come to Needles for lunch. Then they stop in Kingman, an hour away, for gas. And they spend their first night in Williams. But we're honored to be the first stop.
And we got to do everything we can to make sure that they stay that
Yes.
first stop, right?
Yes.
Well, again, thanks for coming on.
Oh, you're
I got
welcome.
just
I
a couple
enjoyed
more
it.
minutes. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Any other events or
No, we're pretty
how
well-
great our members are?
Well, your members are great, and all these events and how our city looks so good couldn't be done without them.
Yeah.
We have a Needles Pride program that the city employees really help us with. We do a major cleanup of a section of Needles once a month. They're a part of that, and then just our recent sports tourism. We had 40 teams over in Needles. We had a basketball rec program. We had high school and girls baseball. So yeah, this past weekend, 40 teams from all over the United States were in Needles.
a lot going on in a small
Yes.
town out in the middle of the desert.
Yes.
And we've been joined by the mayor of Needles.
Thank you.
This last half hour. Really appreciate and for all of you listening from Needles, We appreciate the work that you do every single day.
thanks.
We appreciate all of our members and the public employees that, like you said, make sure that the roads, make sure that the resources there, make sure
Yes.
these functions are operating, making sure that the call to the community is happening, and when the community
Yes.
calls, that happens too. And so with that, thanks for coming on. This is
thank
Randy
you.
Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour. This is, it's been great to have the mayor of Needles on. Jan, we've obviously known each other for a while, and it's
Yeah.
good to see you come into this space. I was actually expecting her to zoom in and not necessarily be in here in person. So when I saw her when I was over in the other building, I was like, oh, okay, cool, but even better,
Yes.
because it's always better to have the person
It is.
live.
Well, I
than
saw
it
Mark
is-
at the barbecue, and I asked him if I could come because he said that Supervisor Rao was the first person. I said, well, if Supervisor Rao was there, I have to be there.
Right, she did a great job when she
Yes.
was on the show too. So, like I said,
And we
Ran-
love Supervisor Rao, let me tell you.
Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, KCA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, airing live from San Bernardino. Mark, take it away at the break at the top of the hour.
Princess knew before you. That's what I said now. Princess who adore you. Just go ahead now. When there's diamonds in his pockets, and that's
NBC News on KCAA Loma Linda, sponsored by Teamsters Local 1932, protecting the future of working families. Teamsters1932.org.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Taylor. Wall Street's closing with stocks higher. Kristen Marks reports.
Investors gained optimism around tariffs after President Trump said there will be a temporary exemption for automakers. At the closing bell, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 485 points. The S&P 500 rose by 64 points. The Nasdaq gained 267 points.
President Trump's history-making address to a joint session of Congress has created some fallout today. During last night's speech, Texas Democrat Al Green refused to sit down and was yelling at Trump before he was escorted out. Today, Republicans are circulating a censure resolution against the congressman. Also last night, Trump referred to Elon Musk as the head of the Department of Government Efficiency, despite the administration naming someone else as the administrator of Doge. That prompted new evidence to be submitted on behalf of the plaintiffs suing over what they say is confusion about Doge's role within the federal government. Lisa Taylor, NBC News Radio.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Are you looking for a good union job? The Inland Empire's 14,000 member strong Teamsters Local 1932 has opened a training center to get working people trained and placed in open positions in public service clerical work and in jobs in the logistics industry. This is a new opportunity to advance your career and raise standards across the region. Visit 1932trainingcenter.org to enroll today. That's 1932trainingcenter.org.
Meet Barkley. When Barkley smells gas, he leaves fast. When Barkley hears hissing coming from a gas appliance, he leaves fast. When Barkley sees dirt or water shooting from the ground, he leaves fast. Barkley then calls 911 and Southwest Gas from a safe location.
Did that dog just grab a phone and dial 911?
Gas lines can be buried anywhere, so remember to call 911 and Southwest Gas.
Here's a look at the KCAA community calendar. It's that time again, time for daylight savings time. Now remember, when you spring forward, you will lose an hour. And the fire departments of the Inland Empire would like to remind you to change the batteries in your smoke detectors. Dentists, meanwhile, think this is a good weekend to change your toothbrush. Now, this may be a lot to do in just one weekend, but this station thought we should remind you. And that's a look at the KCAA community calendar.
This important time-sensitive message is brought to you by this station's generous sponsor, George Litchfield Associates, who has important Medicare information for all current and future Medicare recipients about some big changes happening. Medicare Clarified. Medicare is a non-profit consumer service organization.
It's more important than ever to review your Medicare plan for 2025 from October 15th through December 7th. To find out if you're in the right plan for you, people are calling 951-769-0005. 951-769-0005. A popular and local Medicare plan is improving. Others are raising copays and adding deductibles. Biggest changes in the Medicare drug program in 15 years.
We thank George Litchfield and Litchfield Insurance for their generous support of this radio station.
Now, here's a new concept: digital network advertising, where businesses display your ad inside their building. If a picture's worth 1,000 words, your company is going to thrive with digital network advertising. Choose your marketing sites or jump on the DNA system and advertise with all participants. Your business ad or logo is rotated multiple times an hour inside local businesses where people will discover your company. Digital network advertising, DNA, a novel way to be seen and remembered. Digital network advertising with networks in Redlands and Yucaipa. Call in the 909 area 222-9293 for introductory pricing. That's 909-222-9293 for digital network advertising. One last time, digital network advertising, 909-222-9293.
Welcome to the Worker Power Hour with Randy Corrigan, a brand new show about labor and worker issues. The host of the show is Randy Corrigan, Secretary, Treasurer, and Principal Office and leader of Teamsters 1932, one of the largest public sector labor unions on the West Coast, representing workers in government and non-sworn law enforcement personnel. Randy Corrigan is a 30-year Teamster who first became involved in the labor movement by volunteering his time as an organizer with the Teamsters Union at the age of 21. Since then, he's helped thousands organize, mobilize, and achieve bargaining rights. He accomplished this by spending countless hours with brave men and women all over Southern California, in their living rooms, on the picket line, to bring workers towards victory. This is the Worker Power Hour. And now here's the host of the show, Randy Corrigan.
All right, we're back. Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, and the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, live from San Bernardino. Don't forget, we're streaming too. Now, this song reminds me of being a young kid.
1984, baby.
1984, that's right. I was delivering papers, listening to this song on KFXM, which happens to be in the building now. Back then, KFXM was a radio station. Then it went to a talk station, and now I think it's obviously it's back to a radio station again. And the crazy thing is as a kid, that was the station I listened to, KFI and KFXM, both radio stations in the early 80s before they went to the talk format.
Yeah, KFI was all.
So the first time I ever heard this song is I heard the song on KFXM. Anyway, it happens to be 3 doors now.
A little flashback for you.
Crazy how the life comes around. So I'm joined by a couple Teamsters 1932 members. We'll get to that in a minute. I didn't finish the news, and I didn't finish some other points I had to make. I figured I'd break it up a little bit, and so you guys, I'm sure you'll patiently hang out with me while I blabber on for a few minutes. So I have your guys' permission?
Yes, sir.
All right. So other labor heroes, again, it is Women's History Month, and while some may not want to acknowledge this month, we will. Just like we acknowledged Black History Month last month, we're going to do the same thing this month with women's history as well. And the next person is Emma Tenekia. I probably butchered that, but by age 22, Emma was considered one of the most effective organizers for the Workers' Alliance of America. That same year, in 1938, when San Antonio's lowest paid workers suffered massive wage cuts, they decided to go on strike. The city's 12,000 pecan shellers, most of them women, elected Emma to lead their strike. In less than 2 months, the pecan shellers forced the owners to raise their pay. The pecan shellers struck their strike is considered by many historians to be one of the first significant victories for any Mexican American struggle for political and economic equality in this country. And so, clearly we want to pay attention to this, and thanks off to Emma. And also in 1939, as Emma was given a speech, an enraged mob attacked the San Antonio's Municipal Auditorium. Fearing that she would be lynched, Emma was led away through a secret passageway. The mob threw bricks, broke windows, set fires, ripped out auditorium seats, and later that night, together with the Ku Klux Klan, burned the city's mayor in effigy for having defended Emma's right to free speech. This event is still on record as San Antonio's largest riot. The things she fought to achieve in our society, Social Security, unemployment benefits, minimum wage, equal access to education, disability benefits, were in her days, she was labeled a communist. Today, these are considered to be markers of social justice. And so, Emma, thank you so much for what you did. Obviously, she passed, I think it was in 1999, but it was, imagine that year, 1939. Imagine 1938, 1939, how difficult and how unequal things were in the time. And we complain today that we may not like this or like that. We got it a heck of a lot easier than someone does fighting these issues. And in a day when some of us feel like our free speech is being attacked, I'm going to talk about this in the news in a few minutes. We appreciate someone like Emma to do what she did all those years ago. The courage it took a woman in that time period in the South to do what she did. It's incredible, just incredible. 1910 garment workers strike with 16 young women of the ILGWU, which is the International Lady Garment Workers Union, walked out of HSM shop. They launched what became one of the biggest strikes in Chicago history, the 1910 garment workers strike. It actually started with a handful of people in one location, and it grew into much more. That strike lasted from September 22nd until February of 1911. At its peak, the walkout involved over 40,000, mostly immigrant women, laborers throughout the city. Tensions over low wages, inconsistent shifts, high production quotas, and unsafe working conditions had been brewing for a long time. And so, think about these challenges that people faced 100 years ago or more than 100 years ago. They paved the way for us, and it was incredibly difficult for them. I know in today's day we feel like things are difficult, but it was much more difficult for workers to do what they did in 1910. And as a reminder, you can download the KCAA app in your Apple Store or Google Play Store. If you want to reach our radio show, it's really easy. You just got to push the button. And so, Emma, thank you. And maybe we'll talk a little bit more about her in the future. That's definitely an individual we should look a little deeper into and talk a little bit more about, and get some more guests to talk about that. And so I want to talk a little bit about the news. A lot of positive in the news. There's obviously a lot of negative in the news, but let's actually talk about the positive that's out there. Alaska flight attendants have overwhelmingly ratified their contract, and so highlights of this agreement include double-digit pay raises for the 7,000-member bargaining unit, including boarding pay, a 401k match increase, and higher per diems and more. And so, what a lot of people don't realize in the airline industry is those flight attendants actually don't start getting paid until the door closes, which I don't understand how that works. That's an industry I'm not really familiar with, but they want to get that door closed as quickly as possible because that's when the clock starts for them. And so good for them that they settled on they got a good contract resolved. NBC Digital News Guild secures tentative 3-year contract. The scope of the deal covers approximately 300 digital staff who work as reporters, producers, editors, and designers, videographers, and in other roles. This victory has been years in the making. The NBC News Guild members first organized in 2019. And if the TA is ratified, it will be their first contract. So obviously it took them a long time to get over the hump, and congratulations to them for sticking with it and making sure it happens. Maryland state supervisors overwhelmingly vote to join AFSCME, the American, I won't get into the letters. It's a union that predominantly represents public sector workers across the country. And so congratulations to those Maryland state supervisors. Federal court also finds the federal court finds that firing a probation federal offense. So it's good to see that the federal court stepping in and stopping some of these terminations that are happening. Also, UAW members reach a tentative agreement with Rolls-Royce averting a strike. It's pretty awesome that union members are making Rolls-Royces. It's obviously the top of the line when it comes to any car or vehicle. Union workers are making sure it happens. In Teamsters 1932 news, we have an announcement of Confire merger agreement. So Confire dispatchers have voted unanimously to become members of Teamsters 1932, and I actually have Sherry sitting here to my left who helped make that happen. Congratulations to those workers. Hopefully those dispatchers are listening in right now. Yes, she says yes, they are. And thank you and Natalie and everybody who worked on that to make it happen. Also, many of you may have seen that the IBT Public Services video has been released here recently, and a lot of 1932 members have been featured in it. A lot of our members from the Coachella Valley Water District, the Desert Water Agency, talking about how important these roles are to the community. And we're proud of the fact that the entire world is getting to see how important our members are to the local community. And so the last piece of news I want to talk about that jumps up at me is kind of a downer, but I think it's a reminder of why we need to deal with some of these things. You heard about the situation with Emma being attacked because she was exercising her right to free speech. And I get it. Sometimes we don't want to get into politics on this show. This isn't about politics. And if you voted for Donald Trump, you should absolutely send him something saying that this is unacceptable. He posted on Truth Social yesterday, all federal funding will stop for any college, school, or university that allows illegal protest. Agitators will be imprisoned or permanently sent back to the country which they came from. American students will be permanently expelled or, depending on the crime, arrested. No masks. Thank you for your attention to this matter. First of all, let's define any illegal protest. Most of the protests that are happening right now are what is under the First Amendment, right? And so let me remind everybody of what labor stands for. Workers in labor, the protected concerted activity aspect of any labor law is actually born out of the right to have free speech on the job, because prior to 1934, workers did not have free speech on the job, nor did they have the right to assemble. It was actually illegal. It was illegal for you to strike prior to 1934, but what could workers do? If an employer wasn't doing the right thing by them, what could they do? They were forced to protest. They were forced to strike. They were forced to do these things, even though the law didn't protect them at the time, because clearly the law had not caught up to what was right. And so in 1934, the Wagner Act passed, and it made it legal for workers to engage in picketing, strikes, and specifically protected concerted activity. And so one form or another, protected concerted activity has been at the center of this country since 1776. And the reality is you can't pick and choose this. If people have the right to free speech and they have the right to freedom to assemble, you cannot now, because you're in charge, try to knock this down. And the reason why this raises a huge red flag for those of us in labor is that's how labor gets anything done. At the end of the day, if an employer is not going to recognize what needs to happen or what needs to change in their workplace, the only way to catch their attention ultimately is to withhold your labor, protest, do some sort of action or activity to show that you're standing together and you're coming together to take a position. And, I ask all of you individuals that support Donald Trump and you voted for him, you need to reach out and you need to say you are not accepting this, especially if you are a union member. There is nothing. Now, if you want to take this a step further, I noticed there's no reference to January 6th here. And, what's illegal versus what's not illegal. If we take this just in the frame of what workers have a right to do, the minute you start from the president's office, you start knocking down the right to free speech, we have a problem in this country. We have a problem. And I think it's important for all of us in this space to do what we can to make sure these principles are protected, regardless of political affiliation. I was a very long time Republican, and I am not happy with seeing something like this. This is something, it's pretty strange to see come from a party that I was a part of for a very long time. And again, I don't want to get into the politics of this. I want you as union members to connect to why this is important to do something about it, and to write your senator, write your president, write your congressional leader, and say, I will not stand for free speech being stomped on. I will not stand for my right to assemble to be stomped on. And so if we want to argue about what an illegal protest is, clearly illegal protests are illegal. So let's define what they are. If we're talking about threatening people to pull money back, almost all colleges in America have policies, they have demonstration areas, they have all of this stuff already kind of laid out, because for decades, colleges are kind of where demonstrations happen on a regular basis. Young people that typically coming out of high school, and then now they're young and they're getting educated and they're starting to see things a certain way, and colleges kind of encourage a space for students to voice their perspective and opinion on where they're at and what they're doing. And so I'm not sure what people are referring to when they say illegal, and someone may want to split hairs with me and say, well, he's only referring to illegal protests. Well, that's probably not a good hair to split, considering the history of some protests that individuals were pardoned from. And the reality is you can't pick and choose this. And what's important is that we don't allow this to stomp on workers. We don't allow this to stomp on our community, whether it's the civil rights movement that utilized the right to protest, the right to assemble, the right to go into a diner and sit down and do a sit-down strike or a sit-down action, or it was the women's rights movement that utilized their freedom to assemble and their freedom of speech and their freedom to collectively come together and bring issues forward to their government. We have to be careful not to knock this kind of stuff down and say these types of things, because maybe we don't agree with some of the things that are happening and it makes us uncomfortable in that particular space or time. And so, again, when it comes to labor, this is a huge red flag for us, and I'm just asking all of you, whether you're Democrats or Republicans or independents, is you got to push back on anything that stomps on your freedom of speech, your freedom to assemble, because your right to even have a union was won right there. And I want to caution you, remember the super wealthy of the 1930s and the 1920s, the super wealthy called workers striking because they were tired of getting killed at work. They called that illegal at the time. They called them all kinds of names at the time. So be careful when the super wealthy are framing something a certain way on working people who are just trying to get a fair shake and trying to create equality. Unions have always been at the center of building equality in the workplace, that you should be paid the same regardless of your color. Should be paid the same regardless of your ethnicity or your gender or any other thing. That union contracts was the first space that equality was balanced out. And quite frankly, it was the only space for decades before the country's policy caught up. Union contracts had that first, and it was always won through the freedom of speech, the freedom to assemble, and the freedom to do the very things that are being criticized right now. So it's important for us not to fall into this trap. We all support certain political figures that sometimes disappoint us. I think we can all admit to that at every level, at every time, regardless of who they are. And it's important when that happens that we show them these are not rights we're going to let you step on. And so with that, that is my news. I don't want to get into political bantering with anybody, but the reality is that's a red flag, especially after seeing this attack on public employees at the federal level that's been happening. We're not only seeing that there, we're seeing the attack on funding, trickled down into lots of public entities. You have openly heard certain individuals say, oh, we're going to gut public employees, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And even in Utah, they have now taken away workers' rights in Utah, where public employees don't have the right to collectively bargain anymore. That just happened a few weeks ago. This is not a good space to be in when we start ripping away workers' rights. And one of the things that was said in Utah was they're actually trying to say that taking away collective bargaining for workers, public workers in Utah, actually helped all the other workers in Utah. Their logic is so sideways, it doesn't even make sense that unions actually prevent workers from independently bargaining their position. No, I think history has shown that when you don't have collective bargaining and everybody tries to individually bargain, conditions are far lower than they are when there's collective bargaining. The statistics are rock solid on this. You cannot give me an example. Actually, if you can, please point it out. My reason for bringing it up is what should have happened, and I'll say it again. I said it at the last show. What should have happened in Utah is all the police officers who lost their right to collectively bargain in Utah should have said, when it passed on Friday, we're not coming to work on Monday. We're not coming to work on Monday. You just took our right to bargain, so we're not going to come to work on Monday. I think that would have caught everybody's attention, and I would assume everybody had kind of got back together and maybe resolved something if all the police agencies would have band together and said, not doing this. We're not doing this anymore. So I don't need a break yet, Mark. Appreciate you looking to call it out. I got a little windy on the news, so I'm joined by Yesenia and Tanya, right?
Yes.
Got to get a little closer to the mic.
Yes, sir.
Please don't call me sir. I always feel uncomfortable when people call me sir. But thanks for coming on the show. First of all, both of you are public employees with San Bernardino County in a couple different capacities. And I'll let you introduce yourself real quick. But I first want to say thank you for all the work that you do. I think that public employees get overlooked all the time, and we really get taken for granted of simply because people don't know they exist until there's a need, or until the system is needed to either fix a situation, deal with a situation, or there's a crisis happening at a particular time. So thank you for all that you do. And I'll tell you, Tanya, I've heard everybody talk about what a great spirit, and you're always smiling everywhere. And it's so true, because you've done nothing but light this room up since you walked in it. So with that, why don't we start with you? Introduce yourself, what job capacity you're in, and anything you want to talk about your job briefly.
Well, my name is LaTanya Brown Trahan. I work for the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department. I'm a supervising sheriff's custody specialist, which I oversee general employees, with just ensuring that we remain in compliance with policies and procedures within the detention facilities. We correspond and with other facilities, law enforcement facilities, as well as the courts, with ensuring that we get the correct paperwork, that we're booking the correct folks into custody, that we're within compliance and maintaining the policies and procedures. But that's basically what I do. I do work performance evaluations with for our employees, and of course personnel reports if need be. But basically, in a nutshell, that's what I do.
Yesenia, why don't
All
you tell us your job, because you've recently changed a couple positions,
Yes.
correct?
So I've been with the county 20 years now. I love all of the different departments that I've been able to work at. I was at Workforce for 7 years.
Workforce?
Workforce Development Department. And recently, about a year and a half ago, I moved over to Public Health, which is a great place to work. I'm a program specialist, and what I do is a lot of policy reviews. We basically are like the background for anybody else that's boots on the ground. So 18 years of my career I spent providing direct services to the public. And now I have an administrative role where we help everyone else get their job done. And so it's a lot of policy review, a lot of working with different programs. Public health has excellent programs, everything from animal care, providing maternal services. They have federally qualified health centers, clinics. Everyone knows the pandemic, all of the COVID response that came through public health.
They
So
were
there's a lot
responsible
to
for all that. Yeah,
Yes,
public health was responsible for that,
absolutely. And there's a lot of extra things that people aren't aware of with public health.
And real quick on that,
Yes.
a lot of hospital workers, nurses, and stuff, they got a lot of attention at the hospitals, and quite frankly, a lot of people in public health were overlooked through
Yes.
the COVID and through that crisis. And they're actually more important in a lot of ways. Again, sorry to interrupt you.
No, it is true, Randy. You bring up a great point. One of the things that I always remembered, like when I joined this team, was during COVID when I wasn't part of the team at the time, but I was just amazed at how when my family personally, because I'm a county resident as well, when we got COVID, like they had already developed an app where you could book your testing site. We pulled up, everything was organized. So that made me proud as a county employee to see that my colleagues had put this together, and they were the first responders getting us tested, and everything was just, it happened so quickly. So that's the beauty of this department. One thing that I did want to share, I don't know if we're sharing yet, but I had an opportunity to help out during the fires in the fall. I helped out at the animal shelters, and a lot of the mountain residents brought their pets down. We had everything from horses to, cats, like exotic animals. And so they needed round-the-clock care, and that was provided by public health. So there's a lot that goes on through the department, so I'm really proud and excited to be working here.
Yeah, thanks for laying all that out, both of you. And it's one of the reasons I like this part of the show where we have our members talk about their job, because a lot of these things get overlooked by the general public and how important some of this is. So it's easy for a policymaker and someone to say, yeah, cut the budget 50%, slash this, take away millions of dollars, do this and do that. Like at the end of the day, like that leads to people not being able to perform the services you're actually talking about right now. And in a society as large as ours now, in a civilization that is developed, is people are born into a certain process or certain benefits or a certain community that already has the infrastructure built out to it. So you're not aware that it takes all of these people to kind of do these jobs.
Right.
A good example is you'll see right now where the Doge or whatever it's called is going in and slashing tons of programs and then immediately backpedaling on some stuff like, oh, wait, can't. Oh, that's right. We can't. Oh, that's right. You can't fire those people. Yeah, no kidding. Like you probably shouldn't be firing most of them. But at the end of the day, if you're going in and you're taking a position to just get rid of things, a lot of elected officials locally will run, oh, I'm going to lower your taxes. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And they promise the world. Then once they get into office, they actually start to see the need that the community has for all of this infrastructure. And then they quickly start to realize, yeah, my viewpoint was like pretty poor. And then now it's okay, well, you promised to cut things. So who is it you're going to cut? And I think that what's important about this show is explaining how important these roles are to our community. It's like, let's use your role, Latanya. Let's say the funding cut all of your jobs out, not just those that are supervising, but the ones that you supervise. Well, we'd have a hard time holding people in the jails, right? Right? We'd have a hard time. Like, you want to talk about criminals running the streets? They actually would be running the streets.
They would be running the streets.
Right. So,
Yes,
again, it takes people. This whimsical sort of, yeah, I'm mad about something, so let's just cut things or do this or do that. It's so irresponsible. especially when it comes to protecting a community as it needs to. So thank you for describing those jobs. And also thank you for describing what you're doing outside of work too, because LaTanya, I think there's something else you want to talk about here, and I'll let you open the door on that if you would like to. But Yesenia, you bringing up the work helping with the fires, not only we share a common bond in an animal, which is an English bulldog.
Yes.
That I have an English bulldog, you have an English bulldog, and you told me my English bulldog was going to calm down after 6 months or something like that, or a year.
18 months.
Okay, well, 18 months has come and gone.
And she's still rowdy.
She's still rowdy. You're killing me here. Anyway,
you got a special one, right?
Oh yes, we do. I've got a special one. She's a little calmer. I'll give you
Good.
that. But obviously, you're an animal lover.
I am.
And
yes.
and hearing what you're talking about, helping with the fires, means that you're actually doing something that you get to impact, where you personally are invested in
Yes,
it, and
absolutely.
it's something that you donate your time to. Is there you want to talk a little more about that?
Yeah, I actually do, because one of the shout outs I wanted to give was to our animal care team. And again, I had the opportunity to help out during the fires, but just being there, being with them, seeing the care that goes into all of these animals, just made me feel really proud and at home. But I did want to shout out the animal care team. And I want you guys, anybody that's interested in adopting a pet, to visit the animalcare.sbcounty.gov website, where
You
you
see
guys
Mark
can...
over there? No, stay, give away.
Sorry.
I'm just kidding. You're good.
I walked into Needles Shelter to visit our members out there. I walked out with a dog.
There you go. And you can have more than one, because you can get a dog for your dog.
Oh, you want me to be single too, huh?
But they actually have a lot of community events where if you don't want to visit the shelter, you could actually attend a local event. They'll bring the pets out, and they actually offer reduced fees, because the goal is to provide these homes. And one of the things that our department does, which I thought was really cool, is they'll bring dogs to the office and walk them around, and people end up adopting the dog. And so that actually happened at our admin building. So shout out
just
to
a message to our staff.
Like, is that actually legal? Can you bring a dog in an office?
They actually, we're the department that oversees the animals. So for us, it's perfectly fine.
Because if you brought a dog in here right now, I'd probably take it home.
There you go. It works.
I got an English bulldog I might give you.
Nada.
So, but yeah, the work that we do, definitely, anytime that I have an opportunity to go and provide services directly to the public, I'm in, because I love that part. And I think...
and most people in public service do exactly what you're saying right now. Is
Yes.
that what most people don't realize, the general public, this attack on public employees, all these things that are unfounded and not true, they're just narratives. The one of the things that is pretty spot on is that most of the work that you do is somehow connected to your volunteer work too. In other words, it's a passion that you have as an individual that you're willing to help. Obviously not all the time, but a lot of times I always enjoy seeing how people volunteer for their community, and many times it's connected to the work that they're actually doing if they're a public servant.
Absolutely. And I love how our county really showcases the live, work, and play in this county, because you're absolutely right, Randy. For me, I'm a county resident. I love helping my own community, but I do it in a way that for me is almost selfish, because I love helping people and animals. So anytime that I can do it, I will. And I know that a lot of my colleagues are in the same boat. So even when times get tough, even when we are short staffed, you always have people signing up to volunteer and to help out.
So LaTanya, you were a sheriff's custody assistant, and then a sheriff's custody specialist, and now you're a supervising sheriff's custody specialist, right?
Yes, sir.
And your husband is retired at Teamster, correct?
That is correct, sir.
And you're going to be retiring pretty soon, correct?
Yes, sir. 11 days.
11 days?
11 work days.
I say you just take the rest of the time
Yes,
off.
sir. I'd love to.
Tap out. And I got to do a quick shout out. I saw Ralph jump in here again. He's had another donut in his mouth, by the way. Saw him running in the back, licking his fingers.
Oh, we're having words after this.
Yeah, and he's not sharing, is he?
No.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm going to need to eat cheese after ratting him out.
Right. And so, Latanya, I think there's something else you wanted to cover too. You lost your son Rashad here recently, correct?
That is correct.
And you wanted to bring awareness to something around that, right?
Yes. We found out that my son had exertional sickling due to the sickle cell trait. And we were not aware that he had the sickle cell trait. But what I would like to do is raise awareness, learn more about it. What I have learned is that it's not just an African American blood disorder, but it's a Mediterranean blood disorder. So raise awareness, encourage those to be tested. It's a simple blood test. I mean, I had my blood test results returned by the time I got home.
Oh, boy.
So
Okay,
it was
so it's
pretty
quick.
fast.
Yeah.
It was pretty fast, yeah. But that's actually my ultimate goal in retirement, is to raise awareness, encourage those to be tested.
So the first thing people can do is obviously go down and get tested for it and recognize, because I think what I'm finding out here is that it becomes it's like this dormant trait that people are not aware of, and it typically no one really looks for it unless there's some symptoms and something.
That's
correct?
exactly right, sir. That's exactly right. He was in team sports his whole entire life, very active. When he passed, he was about 160, 6'2", so he was thin built, physically fit, had gym membership, but he overexerted himself. And with that, it morphs. The sickle morphs. So where it's a regular red blood cell, it morphed into a sickle.
And then it runs from there.
It runs from there, yes, sir.
So once the exertion happens, is there a time frame on how fast it changes or creates an issue?
He has to be able to rest, maybe hydrate himself, maybe some oxygen might have helped him. But at the end of the day, they didn't know what they had.
Right.
Yes,
right.
sir.
And it obviously seems kind of rare or unknown to a degree, not
Yeah.
common knowledge. So it's
Yeah.
not like something. They're going to look at the more common things.
That's correct, sir.
So it's important for everybody to get the test and make sure, especially if you have heritage that in some way, shape, or form is going to touch the Mediterranean culture.
That's correct. It's very common in the African American community, but we also need to know that it's Mediterranean, so it can hit any race of folks. It can hit Italians. It can hit Greece. Yeah, it can hit any. Yeah, so it's important. We're all susceptible to that, so we don't know. We don't know unless we know our status.
Well, we really appreciate your courage coming on the show and talking about it and bringing awareness, because obviously something that's challenging for us sometimes can open the door to make things better or create a different opportunity or a different circumstance or a different ending.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Especially something as simple as a test, doing the blood test.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I wish
Especially
he
if you're in
would
the high risk
Yes.
stuff. Yep.
I wish he would have known. He didn't know. And so 1991, I guess the government approved for all babies born to be tested with the sickle cell trait. I was not aware. My son, his nickname was Shadi. So when I say Shadi, it's Rashad. But Shadi was tested when he was a baby. The doctors did not notify me that he had any type of sickle cell trait. So the kid was in team sports his whole entire life. He exerted himself. I don't believe he overexerted himself. And so I think that might be the difference.
Right.
I guess the doctors didn't think it was important to tell me back then because he was a normal kid, healthy, no symptoms whatsoever. So I was tested. Matter of fact, I talked to my doctors recently, and comes to find out it's one parent or the other. And I was tested, and I tested to have sickle cell trait. So what does that mean for me? It means I don't overexert myself. It means I stay hydrated. It means I take care of my body. So.
And now you have the awareness of it. Yes.
And I am aware. Yes.
Right. Which a lot of times is the biggest part of the battle.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
That's
instead of
correct.
it sneaking up on us.
Yep.
Well, again, really appreciate you sharing that story. Obviously, it's got to be difficult and challenging, and I assume all of our listeners really, really are touched by the fact that you want to help the next person.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what's so beautiful about our community. It's what I love about my union, is that we create spaces that, regardless of how challenging maybe our situation should be,
Yes.
or is, or shouldn't be,
Yes.
that we try to make it a little better for someone else, and
Yes.
so that they're, whenever they run into the challenge, that they're more prepared for it, or
Yes.
ultimately that they don't even have to deal with it.
Absolutely.
And that's usually the best space, is when we can get people to where they literally don't even have to deal with it at all, and maybe they're oblivious to it, but hey,
Yes.
that's better than having to deal with it.
That's right. I thank you for allowing me the platform to share our story. Means a lot.
Well, that's what the Worker Power Hour is all about. You know, it's we love this space, and I'm having such a good time doing this because, you know, I don't have a lot of people calling and complaining about the show, right? It's like, matter of fact, we don't have anybody complain about it because it's like, it's real. It's a connection, worker to worker,
Yes.
where our stories are being told. We're learning our history. You know,
Yes.
we probably learned a few things today. I certainly learned a few things today.
Yes.
You know, we learn who our elected officials are in a positive way versus, you know, I'm not going to always agree with Jan and her politics, or I'm not going to always agree with Kurt Hagman, or, you know, all kinds of elected politicians, you know, Helen Tran and San Bernardino. We can get on a show and we can talk about the things we disagree with, or we can get on a show and talk about the things that we agree with so that we can get things done. Our show, and I'm proud to say that you probably heard me talk about a listener in Washington, D.C. You know, we do have 335 people in France that are listening in. I know everybody's like, why are you beating this drum, Randy?
I want to hear you speak French. I'm waiting for French.
When it gets to 400, I'll speak French.
Three
I'll
words.
learn.
Just three.
No. I know wee. That's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Babble, like download the app.
Right. I'll come up with something. Anyway, the point is we're really enjoying watching the listener base, like, kind of naturally and organically grow. And I get these random texts all the time of, oh, I heard this on the show, or while I'm running the show, or we have a rerun. Well, I was listening live, but you're doing a rerun. That's fun, you know. It tells me that people are excited about hearing the next story.
Yes.
And that's what radio should be. We should be storytelling, and we should be, you know, there's some tough things you got to share, but spend most of the time in the positive space. At least that's what we try to do with this show. So thank you for coming on the show, because, you know, if it wasn't for you and others that have come on the show, we wouldn't have one. It's just me sitting in a mic blabbering on for 2 hours, and that's no fun. That eventually gets tiring, right, Yesenia?
Just a little. No.
So what's my limit on talking?
I'm kidding.
15 minutes? 16? What do you have to think about all this I just said?
That's great. That's great. And I'll add to that. I love being a union member as well. The Teamsters really, again, I've been with the county 20 years. You guys took over and joined us in 2015, and our lives just transformed.
10 years coming up.
For the best. Yes, absolutely. When you guys started.
I feel 100 years older, by the way.
You
I'm
know,
just kidding.
so do I. So do I. But when you guys started, my son was about to go to kindergarten. And no, actually, right before you started. And we received a pay cut as county employees at the time, pre-Teamsters. And I literally was struggling trying to figure out, and I'm a two-parent household. My husband and I both work full-time. I have had two small kids at the time. But I was struggling trying to figure out how I was going to pay my daycare and still go to work. And once Teamsters came in 2015, our lives changed. Now with our medical benefits, I mean, we have affordable health care, which is huge. We get to keep our raises that come through. You know, we're all struggling right now with this inflation, and I feel like I'm still in a good spot. I'm still in a really good place. So I'm very proud anytime that I can hear or in any platform give you guys some information on what it's like to be a Teamster. It's amazing. Join the team. We have a great county family, a great Teamsters family. I'm very proud to be a part of both. And so this is a great playground. It's a lot of fun, and you'll love your job and you'll love your union.
LaTanya. Yep.
There he goes.
How do we top that, right?
You can't. She's absolutely right.
So, are you going to retire to anywhere specific? I got to get you a little closer to the mic.
I am not going to retire at this time. We're still looking for property out of state. We haven't settled.
Where?
Possibly Texas. We're looking at Bourne, Texas, but I really like San Antonio.
We just told a story about San Antonio.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of history in San Antonio.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a
Yes.
very interesting town. A lot of good stuff there too. There's a river walk.
It is?
Yeah, it's that's pretty cool. Like it's awesome, the scenery and walking around and where the stores are and,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
the restaurants and all that stuff. Really interesting how they've set that up.
Beautiful out there. I love San Antonio. I love the Riverwalk.
Yeah, the river walk is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Gonna do any traveling?
Absolutely.
We interrupt this moment for Robert Gonzalez.
Yes, Robert. What are you looking for? What do you? Oh, so read the Slack. Okay. Sorry, I just got to read something here. Oh, it has nothing to do with you guys.
Oh.
It's all for me. No, you see what you guys did over there. You got the guests like, whoa, what did I do wrong? You guys didn't do anything wrong. Just tell your story. I got to apparently read something that's going on in front of me so I can enter it into the show. I know. See how hard it is to manage this live?
Absolutely.
It isn't like I can hit the pause button. So I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Any traveling you're going to do?
Yes, my husband is ready to get on the road.
And your husband's sitting right here, right now, right?
There's Mr. Byron Trahan. He's sitting right over there. I wouldn't be the lady I am today if it wasn't for my husband. We've been together for 25 years. He's a good man.
Congratulations.
Yes. Yes.
Yesenia, anything else you'd like to add?
Let's see. How much time do we have?
We've got about 10 minutes. What did you think of bargaining? You were on the bargaining
my
team
goodness.
this last time.
Okay.
See, I got you fired up.
Yes, let's go.
She argued with me a whole bunch of times, by the way.
I did, and I'll tell you what. I'm one of those people that's going to ask for everything, and you guys delivered. So, having been here for so many years and seeing my coworkers, I mean, when we were bargaining, I'm going to give another shout out to Public Works. It was during that blizzard snowstorm in 2023. And we were all in this room. Our bargaining team was made up of almost 40 different county employees. But I remember the Public Works guys talking about getting that call at 2 a.m. to go up the mountain in the dark in this crazy blizzard with their snow. They didn't really have snow gear. Like they had, I mean, let's just keep it real. We never had a blizzard like that here in California. And so for them, for me, like if I got that call at 2 a.m. that said go and plow these streets with this new plow machine that we've never used, but somebody has to do it. There were roofs caving in. There were people dying. They went. They never said, no, not me. Who else are you going to call? They showed up. So that happened during bargaining. So we actually were able to just hear the different stories of what it's like to show up to work on days like that. And that I was so thankful that we got the contract that we did, which was the most lucrative contract in county history, if I'm not mistaken, right, Randy?
That's correct.
So just to be in the room, to be a part of that, to be able to share with our county HR team how hard we work, how people don't question, like if they say, hey, we need your help out here, they don't think twice. It's always yes. Tell me when and where.
And what was incredible about that snowstorm is that Teamsters were not only part of the pieces that you just said, plowing the road with our Public Works, jumping in, volunteering, and helping in those emergencies that were happening all over, but also as the roads are being plowed and food and supplies are getting up the hill, it's Teamsters that are driving all those trucks to make sure that those stores and markets and everybody has the basic essential needs that they needed up there when obviously a massive snowstorm, something that hasn't happened in over 100 years in the region, dumped on the mountain area. It always makes me warm and fuzzy to know these types of stories. And actually, the reason why everybody was flagging me down is a story similar to that just happened the other day here, where one of our members that lives in Redlands, his wife had come home and found the water gushing from a spot in their yard and found out that there was a leak. And then they called the plumber. Plumber came out, looked at it, and said, "Hey, we got some bad news for you. It's actually not you. It's actually the city. It's on the city's edge." Now, they're obviously now late in the evening, and they live in Redlands, and they're thinking, "Oh, well, I'm a Teamster. Aren't the Redlands people Teamsters?" So they end up calling a business agent here, and that person says, "Hey, call Redlands PD dispatch." And sure enough, they had someone from the water department on their way within 30 to 45 minutes. About a half hour later, they got a call from a fellow Teamster brother who, on the call from the water department, told us, "Go to bed. We'll have this fixed before you wake up in the morning." The next morning, their water was back on. The leak was completely repaired. And Ben wants to say, "Hey, I just have to give a huge shout out to my Teamster brothers and sisters in Redlands that step up in our communities every day. They don't always get the credit for what they deserve, but they're out there making sure our cities run smoothly." So to the folks in the Redlands Water Department, thank you. We see you. We appreciate you. Like,
that's awesome,
right?
Yeah.
These are stories that are the dime a dozen. Like, these are happening all the time, and that's what I love about the show is we have the space to actually share it, talk about it, because if you don't talk about it and people don't know about it, it's easy for someone to say, "Yeah, cut all the funds in the water department." Like, imagine what our water would be like. I always love to talk about the water department because our history shows us, a little more than 100 years ago, that in New York, millions of people died from cholera being in the water because just, everybody's drinking the water and they don't realize that there's essentially a poison in there. There's something happening. All of these things that we have is regulations and rules to make sure that our water is safe. In most cases are being handled by union workers to make sure that lives are safe every day. So when you turn that spigot on, that's not going to kill you like it did millions of people in New York in the late 1800s.
These things that we don't even think about.
Not today, because, you turn a spigot on, water comes out, you pay a bill, water bill, right? You flush a toilet, goes away, you pay a bill. Like, well, it comes in and it goes out so easily and so fluidly. We just don't pay attention to the challenges that are in the system, and because so many people are taking care of it, so it's easy for someone to come in and say, "Yeah, we need to cut your taxes, and we need to do this, and we need to do that." I had an elected official once that I was talking to, and he's a Republican, and he's been very supportive of unions, by the way, not bad. And in that conversation, he had said, "Hey, Randy, man, I just, we got to do this, we got to do that, we got to do this." And jokingly, I said, "You sound like a Democrat. You want to do all these programs." And he laughed and he paused for a minute and he goes, "The longer you do this job, the more you realize you got to do."
Yeah.
And it was actually the best response of an elected official I've ever had when I kind of challenged him on something funny in that kind of space. But to explain that the more I do this and the more I'm engaged in this, I see that there's even more work to be done. We're still not getting enough done with what we got. So again, I hope that we can be that voice to create some balance and not have this antagonistic, anger-filled stuff all the time. And will we be as popular? No, I'm not trying to have the world's most popular show. We probably have to have people scratching each other's eyeballs out for that, right? That's not what we're looking for. I got a couple minutes. Do the two of you want to say anything before we wrap up real quick, before I close out the show? LaTanya?
I'd just like to encourage anyone out there to sign up to be a union member and with the Teamsters. It's helped me out a whole lot over the years. I have a very good union rep, Sherry Arnales. She's phenomenal. Anytime. She's made herself available.
Should we give her a
for
raise?
me. I think she deserves 2 raises. Yeah, she makes herself available for us at any given time, anytime we have any issues at all. And I'd also encourage those of you who are interested in working with the Sheriff's Department to come on board. I've been there for 34 years. I've worked as a Sheriff's Custody Assistant, Sheriff's Custody Specialist, now Supervisor. There is upward mobility. And don't think you can't do it, because you can. If I could do it, you could do it. It's a good job, good benefits. So come on board. We'd love to have you.
Absolutely. And I started as an office assistant too.
You got
in
30 seconds, just so you know.
2005, and now I'm a program specialist, and I plan to continue to grow. So this is a great place, and I welcome everyone as well.
Again, one last time, thank you for all that you do for our local community. Everybody may not thank you, but we're going to. And I believe that this show is a way to demonstrate not just only our appreciation for the work that you do every day, but worker power. And what we do is we're trying to encourage people to build worker power. We're trying to encourage workers to build worker power. And how do you build worker power? The way you do is you talk to your friends, you talk to your neighbors, you talk to your coworkers, and you help form a union. It's building a union and taking collective action and doing these types of things is what has created the American dream. Because before this process was available, there was not an American dream. It was actually a nightmare. And at the end of the day, we're going to continue to build worker power. I'm a long-time organizer, first-time radio host. This is Randy Corrigan in the Worker Power Hour, KCAA 1050 AM, 106.5 FM, the Teamsters 1932 Broadcast Network, airing live from San Bernardino and also streaming digitally. Take it away, Eric.